Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever day I decide to post this, because I don't know. But I have a lot of extra free time nowadays because of undisclosed reasons, and that's all I'll say about that. So I'm just gonna pump even more of these out. Aside from writing and focusing on my own projects, I might as well talk about the things and the movies. So I kind of want to do something a little bit different. As of today, recording this, Disney pulling another Star Wars movie off of their calendar that was supposed to come out in 2026. Ooh, do we actually still want another Star Wars movie? There was also report too that some guy that called me ignorant that I actually have no clue. Someone sent me the article and they were just even who? I was just yeah, I don't know. But we're getting another trilogy of Star Wars movies, and then that there was this other movie as of today that was just pulled, another Star Wars movie from Disney's calendar. I love Star Wars. I grew up watching Star Wars. The original 3. 4, 5, 6. Fantastical movies, changed the scope of science fiction, action movies, and stuff like that, and how we can tell stories and how kids' movies can be for everybody at the end of the day. Unfortunately, Star Wars movies have not been that great. I really enjoyed The Force Awakens, I'm not going to deny that, but everything else you can kind of have it. Andor, is that how you say that properly? I started that season and I was enjoying it, but I'm just really bad at keeping up with TV shows, so I tapped out. No offense to the show. Mandalorian, I was enjoying that one, but once again I tapped out because I don't really watch TV shows. As I said before, it's a world that you have to get into for 6 to 10 hours, and I'm okay. I have other things I need to do with my life, like this and writing and a whole bunch of other shit that actually doesn't even matter. Anywho, I woke up this morning to see that Conan O'Brien will be hosting the 97th Oscars, and there's part of me inside of my soul where I kind of get excited for the Oscars, but at the end of the day, I just kind of really don't care. Movies are such a subjective art, so it's kind of hard to give an award out for something, because if you go back in time and you actually watch the movies that would win awards, and they don't even talk about those movies anymore, and then you go down and look at the list and it's wait, how did this beat out this movie? We actually still talk about this movie. It's a bunch of people that are behind closed doors and they vote and they give their little ballot and they turn it in, and then that's that. So it's kind of bullshit at the end of the day, but I found it kind of interesting that Conan O'Brien will be hosting the 97th Academy Awards, and this will be his first time hosting the Academy Awards. So that's kind of fun. Maybe I enjoyed Conan when he was doing late night shows, and I subscribed to his podcast. I enjoy it. I think he's a great commentator. I think he's funny. I think I think he might be an okay guy for the job. Anyway, so that's enough of some movie news that kind of may or may not be relevant if you give a shit if you're still here. Today we're actually going to be talking about a movie that I had no clue what the hell it was. Someone slid down in that comment section and was cover this movie. And I was just don't know it. Sure will. So this movie, once I saw that Jeff Goldblum was in it, I was all right, I'll check this movie out. And that movie is 1990's Mr. Frost. Mr. Frost is a psychological horror thriller directed by Philippe Setbon and stars Jeff Goldblum in a chilling, atypical role with Kathy Baker and Alan Bates. The film is a slow burn, atmospheric exploration of evil, faith, and belief using minimalistic storytelling and unsettling performances to create a sense of dread. It's one of the lesser known entries in Jeff Goldblum's filmography, but remains a fascinating character study and a unique horror film that blends supernatural elements with psychological tension. I popped this movie on it. This was a hard one to find. I don't even know if it's anywhere to be found. I had to I went on YouTube and watched a really, really bad quality version of it. I'm actually shocked that I actually sat down and watched the entire movie. But this movie, it was interesting. It's got Jeff Goldblum with this cool haircut. This movie was done after The Fly, but it was kind of like The Fly haircut, but only worse. and honestly, I enjoyed the movie overall, don't get me wrong, but it's just, it's one of those movies saw it once, don't ever need to see it again. Maybe you should check it out if you can find it. The version I watched of the movie, it looked like someone ripped it from a VHS. So the film begins with the arrest of Mr. Frost, a suave man who is found burying bodies in his garden. When police search his property, they discover dozens of corpses. After being arrested, Frost confesses to the murders but stops speaking out altogether once he's taken into custody. For 2 years, he remains remains completely silent until he's transferred to a psychiatric hospital, where he begins to speak again, but only to Dr. Sarah Day. Frost claims that he is the devil himself, and he begins to manipulate Dr. Day, playing a psychological game that challenge her beliefs and sanity. As their sessions progress, Frost's influence on the people around him grows, leading to violent outbursts and strange occurrences. The film builds to a climatic confrontation between Frost and Dr. Day, exploring themes of good versus evil and the nature of fate. The film, it explores, classic battles between good and evil. That's kind of like the whole thing, personified in the characters of Mr. Frost and Dr. Day. And Mr. Frost kind of is like as the devil, and Dr. Day is the voice of reason and skepticism. It raises questions about the existence of true evil and the power of belief. The horror in Mr. Frost is rooted in psychological tension rather than overt supernatural elements. Frost's ability to manipulate those around him through fear and suggestion is central to the film's unsettling tone. Dr. Day's journey is one of skepticism that turned into reluctant belief. Her interactions with Frost challenge her understanding of reality, forcing her to confront the possibility that he may indeed be what he claims to be, the devil. Let's talk about the most rarest of rare trivia, because this video, and that's kind of like a bit of the reasoning why I did a little bit of news piece in the beginning, because there's not really that much information on this movie. But I wanted to comply to the request that was to cover this movie, Mr. Frost. Known for his quirky and charismatic characters, Jeff Goldblum took a significant departure from his usual roles to play the sinister Mr. Frost. Goldblum delivers a cold, restrained performance that stands out in his filmography as one of his most chilling portrayals. Mr. Frost was primarily filmed in France and Belgium, giving the movie a distinct European feel. The decision to shoot in Europe contributed to the film's atmosphere, setting it apart from typical American horror films of the time. Although the film was released in Europe in 1990, it had a limited theatrical release in the United States in 1991. This contributed to its obscurity, especially given the lack of major promotional efforts. As a result, Mr. Frost remains relatively unknown in mainstream horror circles. I'd never even heard of that. I wonder if the dude or ma'am that requested this movie via YouTube's, if they're European. Sir, ma'am, if that was you, please comment below if that is true or not. Because how the hell did you find out about this movie? Once again, I like Jeff Goldblum. I'm a fan. Never heard of this movie. Kathy Baker, known for her roles in dramas, plays Dr. Sarah Day with a mix of skepticism and vulnerability. Her character's evolution from disbelief to fear and eventual acceptance is crucial to the film's psychological impact. Baker's performance grounds the supernatural elements, making the confrontation between science and faith feel genuine. The character of Mr. Frost and his manipulative tactics bear similarities to satanic figures in classic literature, such as Mephistopheles from Faust. The film explores the idea of the devil as a charismatic figure who tests human beliefs rather than relying on traditional horror tropes. Unlike many horror films of the era, Mr. Frost uses minimal special effects, opting instead for practical effects and atmospheric tension. This decision contributes to the film's realistic and unsettling tone, relying on Goldblum's performance and psychological scares rather than jump scares or gore. Alan Bates plays Detective Felix Detweiler, the police officer who first arrests Frost. His character, who initially dismisses Frost's claims, gradually becomes more unhinged as the film progresses, highlighting the psychological impact Frost has on everyone around him. The film's ending is intentionally ambiguous, leaving viewers to question whether Frost was truly the devil or highly intelligent psychopath. This open-ended conclusion has sparked debate among fans and adds to the film's cult status. Which then leads to, despite its limited release and initial obscurity, Mr. Frost has garnered a small but dedicated cult following. Fans of Jeff Goldblum's work and psychological horror appreciate the film's unique take on the devil and its atmospheric telling. I really just don't have much more to say about this movie because I was here for it. I watched it. I would never watch this movie again. I'm lightly suggesting to watch this movie. And once again, I think if I, let's get a DVD release, let's get a Blu-ray release or something so I can kind of maybe revisit it. I don't know, maybe the quality will change my mind on how I feel about the movie. I'm not saying the movie's bad, but to go search for this movie and kind of not really find anything. It's got a Rotten Tomatoes score of 33%. Take that as you will. I love actually going on Rotten Tomatoes and and seeing what the audience reviews are and just going to what the people are just like shitting on the movie. It's like when you go on Amazon, like go read the bad reviews, you know, and why would you read the good reviews? Of course, people are going to say how good it is, but tell me what's wrong with it. On IMDb, this film holds a 5.9 out of 10 score. So, I mean, I guess it's, you know, mixed reviewed for what it was for 1990. Mr. Frost remains a hidden gem in the psychological horror genre, notable for its atmospheric tension and Goldblum's chilling performance. While it never achieved mainstream success, it is respected among horror aficionados for its minimalist approach and unsettling themes. The film's exploration of the nature of evil and the power of belief continues to resonate with viewers, making it a thought-provoking, underrated entry in 1990s horror. This movie, I feel like, is there's a movie that's on the tip of my tongue that was recommended to me eons ago, and I can't remember what it was, but I wouldn't even throw this in a world of like The Dark Half or In the Mouth of Madness. I don't know why, but my brain kind of goes to those movies in relation to Mr. Frost. Take that as you will. Go check out the movie. That's it for today. Maybe I'll talk more news in the beginning. I'll see what the retention rate, if it just drops down. I actually hold on like to a good solid like 2 minutes before it actually drops down. I'm like, not bad for a 10-minute video. But if that shit drops down within 30 seconds to a minute, I mean, because at the end of the day, I don't want to talk politics. I don't want to be too negative on certain things, but I'm just trying to be honest and to the truth of how I feel, in my opinion, about movies, you know, something I'm extremely passionate about, and I would consider myself a loser because of how much I give a shit about movies. I actually get angry about it, but yeah, like Rob Zombie would say, yeah.